Good morning, natural gas. It's Friday, August the 7th, 2026. I'm Tim Beggins, president of Elk Trading Company. And for the spot September natural gas contract, we're up. We're up to 268.80, up 4.8 cents here, or 1.82%. And as you can see, the RSI is trying to turn to the upside. And we've talked about this in the last few days. We've got our potential reversal countdown. It's now complete at 9 days. So it could be 9 to 13 days, but we're on day 9 yesterday, which means we've got to keep a careful eye on the upside in this market. We need to close over that 13-period exponential moving average, which comes in today at 275.30. That's a big, long way away, but we'll keep an eye on this as we get into next week. Let's turn to the hourly chart. And as you can see, yes, we are right there. We are at the 268.90 pivot for the day right now. That's good news. Excuse me, we're above the daily pivot, which came in 265.30. We're at first resistance at 268.90. The RSI is turning to the upside. Second resistance, 273.90. So a positive short covering move here ahead of the weekend. Let's see if this continues into next week. What else is going on? Well, yesterday's storage report came in at plus 33 against expectations around 30 to 31 BCF, but it was bearish versus last year's plus 13 and the 5-year average of plus 23. Let's see if the weather can hold and keep at least the storage levels down for a while, because we are still slightly below last year, but we're 6.7% over the 5-year average. Let's turn to the front to back spreads here. We're up just a tick here or two. We're at 129.40, up 1.3 cents here on the Jan versus the October. This is the injection spread. So we want to hold here at 125. That continues to incentivize injections into storage. We'll see if that can continue here. The RSI is still in a sell mode for the moment. Let's turn to the grid and ERCOT. We are looking at about 87,000 of system-wide demand today, and there is renewables potentially at 41,610 here megawatts. So about about half or so. Natural gas right now is running 38% of the fuel mix here in the grid at just under 25,000 megawatts. Again, this is okay for natural gas. We do have some very warm temperatures, but solar and wind combining here to just knock off natural gas demand. Let's turn to the national grid and let's see what happened here. We are going to refresh here and just pop it out. There is PJM expected to be over $166 today. SPP is much lighter at 73. MISO, though, at 98. And, of course, NISO here in New York State, 148. So we've already seen some volatility here in NISO, New York State. We've seen some volatility here in New England and some volatility in Ontario. That's right, the Canadian grid right there. And right now, ERCOT, though, is going to stay fairly stable under $45 here. About $45 is expected to be its peak. So ERCOT, CalSO doing fairly well this morning. But again, the pain points here, PJM, MISO, NISO, and New England here. Let's turn to the temperature outlook, and here's that cooler temperature in the northern tier. The above normal temperatures are locked into the south from Texas all the way over to the Carolinas in the 6 to 10 day and the 8 to 14 day temperature outlook. Again, below normal temperatures now in New England for this time of year. So let's take a look at the extreme heat risk. And right now we do have just over 500,000 in extreme heat risk. Major heat risk, though, for over 50 million people, mainly in the interior West and across the East Coast, from Virginia all the way back up into Maine and parts of Tennessee, Texas, and Oklahoma. As we move further into the forecast, though, this is Saturday, tomorrow, a little bit of extreme and major heat risk still remaining here. Again, this is starting to ease up on the East Coast before it pops back up in the Midwest here from Oklahoma all the way back to St. Louis towards Chicago. Then things start to push back as that cooler temperature starts to push in. Extreme heat risk is limited to North Carolina, Georgia, and parts of Florida. Let's take a look at the weather model going past that. And as you can see, The triple digits are limited to Texas all the way back up into Florida here and up to North Carolina. Cooler temperatures are starting to come in, so we are starting to get some early cool temperatures here in the East Coast. So let's take a look at Europe, where it's cool right now for the moment in upper France, Germany, and UK. But here comes that warmer temperature coming right back in here on Sunday. And then it cools off just a little bit here before major heat risk comes back in on the 12th. That's right. There it is in France. Some extreme temperatures coming in. The 13th looks like a critical day for Spain, France, the UK, and Germany. And as you can see, that pushes into the 14th all the way over. And then we start seeing some cooler temperatures finally starting to come in late in the forecast period here around the 20th. So that's good news there. But in between, we're going to get some more extreme heat risk. Let's turn to the European stocks. They're 58% full with less than 3 months to go. And as you notice here from the bottom graph, we are peaking out typically in injections in just 1 week. That's right. We typically start to decline, but not this year. We're going to be pedal to the metal here because we're over 10% below last year. We'll be lucky to get to 75 if 80% is probably going to be a stretch right now for the entire EU. We've got some problems across the grid, mainly between the UK. Even Germany is running low. France is running low as well, but Netherlands and Belgium also in some trouble here. And here is the UK. This is the national balancing point here. This is from yesterday, dollars per MMBTU. And as you can see, it was up almost 7% yesterday. That's right. The panic button is being pressed here in Europe because the Strait of Hormuz is still under contest here. We had 8 ships pass through the strait on Tuesday, only 2 on Wednesday, according to Kepler. And that's not good news because if Qatar is boxed out this whole winter, Europe is in trouble. And let's turn to Asia here. And here is Typhoon Dolphin. That's right. She is about to come on shore here just south of Shanghai this weekend. There's Saturday. It impacts on Sunday into Monday in just south of Shanghai. Main rainfall is going to be towards Shanghai, and then it dissipates into the mountains. Let's turn to the weather maps, and as a result of that cooler weather, you can see Dolphin coming across there, some of the lower Japanese islands here just north of Taiwan. And as you can see, boom, as it hits on shore here, Monday starts to cool off dramatically in the eastern provinces of China. New Delhi over in England is also running fairly cool. Japan and Korea also benefiting here, coming off some recent heat waves here. So these storm systems are definitely being very helpful here as we get into the mid part of August here. So as you can see, we do see some return weather coming back in late in the third week of August towards Shanghai, back up to Beijing. This has been the typical pattern. This warm temperature comes in off the desert here to the west of China and pushes over towards Shanghai and up to the capital city. So let's take a look at the LNG, and there's 2 vessels loading up here at Qatar at Ras Laffan. That's right, there's 2 of them right there. And these are the loading docks here. There are 10 loading docks on the northern part of the port. The other docks are for crude oil tankers and product tankers. And here is the U.S. The U.S. for Cameron LNG running 1.48, doing very, very well, nice and steady. Freeport steadying as well here, running just under 1.129 right now. That's good news there. How about Creole Trail? This is one of the pipelines that feeds Sabine Pass, also doing fairly well. And here's Corpus Christi, also doing great here, 2.6. That's good news there. Here is Calcasieu Pass. There is still some open capacity here, but this appears to be because the modular trains here are not yet in place for expansion here over to CP2. It's running right now at 1.634 BCF. That's what its capacity is for the existing amount of trains at that facility right now. And here is Venture Global's Plaquemines, and it is running just a little bit of open capacity there. Good news. And here is Golden Pass. That's right. It's up to 609,000 MMBTUs out of 800 to 850,000 for train one. This is fantastic news. So LNG is tightening up as the weather may be just easing. Here's the tropics. We've got that storm system off the Bahamas. It's going to put more rain into Florida and Georgia and South Carolina, but the Gulf is quite quiet. How about the mid-Atlantic? Yeah, there's some storm systems that keep coming off the coast here. And as you can see, this is the first one dissipating, second one starting to lose some strength, third one, yep, same thing. Why? You got it. The Saharan air layer, the dust is just inhibiting any storm development in this path here. So good luck. We need this to calm down. Right now, we've got a massive plume coming off the continent. And here is the U.S. nuclear fleet here running currently right now today at 2.8 gigawatts are offline here. And look at what you're seeing here on the board. James Fitzpatrick, 7% outage. Susquehanna just at 1%. Perry up in Ohio down at 4%. So we're starting to see the northern nuclear fleet starting to come off here for some maintenance and possibly early refueling. So watch out. This is when we typically do a little bit of a blip. We come back off a little bit here on outages, and then we start to ramp up in September. And here is the drought. This is going to be our big story here going into winter next year as well. Look at the interior West. There's extreme and exceptional drought. Look at Colorado in particular. There are 4 river systems that originate from Colorado. They're all running dry, especially the Colorado River that feeds all the way into Southern California. So this is going to be the big story next year. And here is another reason why, because it's dry, it is also increasingly on fire. That's right, we've got over 100 fires in the West here. That is going to continue. There is really no hope here unless these things get some rain this winter. We'll see. But right now, we've got a drought, and this is not helping the situation. Let's turn to the stocks in the oil and gas E&P sector. These are stocks between $2 and $10 billion, have a high short float, and this is the 1 week performance. As you can see, the only thing that's really positive here is CRK up 1.21%. NOG here is up 0.14%. Right behind me, CNX down 1.7%. So mixed bag here because crude and natural gas have been on the defensive. So with the Strait of Hormuz conflict still simmering, it looks like these stocks may finally catch a bid. Let's again recap here for September. We are currently trading at 268.5, up 4.5 cents or 1.7%. The RSI is trying to turn to the upside. We've got a potential reversal pattern forming here, so keep a careful eye on it. We need a close over the 13-period exponential moving average. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Please hit that like and subscribe button. Thanks for listening. We'll see you soon.